Hello, good morning. My name is Carlos Moreira. I am the founder and CEO of WISeKey, a cybersecurity company located in Switzerland, Geneva, which is also listed on the NASDAQ with the code WKEY. I'd like to thanks to Maxim for the opportunity to let WISeKey to present its technology and services in this event. And I would like just maybe to summarize our ecosystem. So we have 22 years of experience. We have 6 global offices around the world. We are a staff base of something like 210 people distributed in different locations in Germany, in France, in Switzerland, in the United States, and in Asia. WISeKey has a very big install base, or its cryptographic root key, which is the crypto that allows you to certify identities on the internet, both on physical objects and virtual objects. And we have 5 billion of those root of trust cryptographic root key installs into browsers, mobile phones, drones, satellite, any type of hardware that connects to the internet. We also have 1.6 billion chips. Those are microchips, and they are embedded into the object. Those chips are embedded in order to provide a unique identifier to the object, let's say a drone, and that object to encrypt data when it connects to the cloud. WISeKey in 2021 acquired HIRO, which is a leading AI company in Germany, and HIRO artificial intelligence is being integrated into WISeKey. So we provide what we call a unique vertical model. I mean, cybersecurity, it's distributed on the internet, but you need to verticalize trust. Trust is essential as we are moving towards a Web 3.0 environment where the definition of trust is going to change. We are moving from traditional trust models to virtual trust models that require a very detailed process on how you handle that trust. So the areas on where we have been very strong is the bottom line is the trust, root of trust, as I mentioned, very big trust anchor that allows applications and operating system to be trusted cryptographically. Then a layer of identity management. WISeKey has been doing identity services for over 22 years with WISeID, which is a certificate that you can install in your browser, you can install in your email, you can secure your mobile communications, you can secure your PDF files when you digitally sign them, and so on. And we have, as I mentioned before, the possibility now to integrate those identities also into hardware microchips. All that generates a very big amount of data, and that data is then analyzed by our AI capabilities with HIRO, the AI algorithm that we acquire through the acquisition of HIRO. So our clients are using our technology for all sorts of usages, such as securing their objects, providing identity to their hardware, so their hardware is protected. IoT is 4 trillion objects to be connected to the internet gradually. We only have less than 500 million of them connected, and excluding obviously mobile phones. So in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see a very large penetration of objects that they are going to be connecting to the internet, and they need that level of security. So some of the clients that use our technologies and integrators that they are integrating their technology or technology into their backend. So concrete usage, imagine a parrot drone that will use WISeKey identity as a way to encrypt the data between the drone and the Earth station. Imagine a watch manufacturer that will use the technology as a way to secure their watches against counterfeiting. Imagine possibilities of PDF signing and securing the digital signature of documents, et cetera, et cetera. The technology backbone is very important in WISeKey. As I mentioned before, PKI companies with PKI asset, such as RSA, Entrust, VeriSign, DigiCert has been there for a long time. Some of them, they are around our age, 22 years old, and even more in the case of RSA. And these companies are now using their penetration on the internet to provide digital identity services, not only for Web 2.0, but also for Web 3.0, which is a bit different as it includes now decentralized technology such as blockchain. So WISeKey has been focusing very much on bringing that PKI technology into different new applications, such as device-to-cloud authentication, anti-counterfeiting, consumer engagement, secure application environment, secure business processes, trusted NFT marketplace, which is the new development of WISeKey, and I will come back later. It is a possibility to basically minting NFTs directly from the semiconductor all the way to the metaverse. So the metaverse is an empty space that is being populated, but in order to populate the metaverse, you require to do NFTs and mint them in blockchains, multi-ledger blockchains, and those blockchains, once they are minted with the NFTs, can create representations of the metaverse. Then you can prove that that representation is the real thing and corresponds to the intellectual property and protections of the original product. So technology side, as I mentioned, WISeKey semiconductor, we are one of the few companies that has its own design on semiconductors. We manufacture them in Asia and in other places around the world, and we design them. Those semiconductors are, as you know, strategically now, as many countries are concerned about the dependency on semiconductor to foreign manufacturers. So WISeKey uniqueness of being able to design and manufacture its own semiconductor puts us in a leading edge in what concerns developing applications on the top of that hardware. We provide semiconductor provisioning. We also integrate what you call a concept certification authority. So we issue certified identities, certified credentials, and they are based on Web Trust certification. So that means that they are recognized by all browsers and operating system operationally out there. And that allows us to develop trust services. Then they generate a lot of data. So I think the oil of the digital economy is data, and data can be fake data, can be data that is being provided from unauthenticated sources. So the big challenge here is how can we certify that the data that leaves from the product is actually a genuine data. It's a data that is certified and cannot be repudiated. And once you have the high quality data, the knowledge automation and artificial intelligence acts in a very efficient way. So that's the PKI certification lifecycle. So you have the root of trust, as I mentioned, public trusted CA. In that space, we are very similar to VeriSign, Symantec, Entrust, RSA, Certification Authority Services, and others, and they are recognized by browsers and smartphones, and they are acting as certification authorities on the internet. Then you have the identity management, WISeID, which is a very popular app. It is available on both Android and iOS, and this app allows you to issue a digital certificate, a digital identity that belongs to you. One of the differences between WISeKey and its competitors is that in the WISeKey architectural model and trust model, the digital identity belongs to the consumer. So you as a consumer, when you download a WISeID, you can single sign on with any identity services on the internet, whether that is Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, without depending on the platform to hold your identity for you. The identity belongs to you. You can single sign on to that service, access the service as much as you want, but the day that you move away from the service, that identity is under your control, which is not the case if you go directly to the platform. If you, for instance, do your identity with Facebook Connect, and then you use Facebook Connect to single sign on many other services, the day that you don't want to use Facebook anymore, you lose that identity control. So identity control and consent control are very important consumer protection, which basically also avoids the possibility of platforms to data mine your private data without your consent. Then we have INES, which does similarly, but for objects. So it is the equivalent to WISeID, but at the object level. Objects, when they are manufactured, like mobile phones, like drones, like hardware in general, like smoke detectors at home, the manufacturers do not pay much attention to the identity of that object. So the quality and security of that identity is very weak, and that can be very easily compromised by hackers. And that's why it's so essential to put the same level of authentication and identity at the object level by installing one of our chips. And that prevents somebody to hack an object. And by hacking an object in your house, could be your TV, could be your Wi-Fi, could be your fridge, anything that is connected to the internet. Through that object, they can access all the objects of your house and compromise the infrastructure. So, so this is something that it is essential, and it's something that has been tested in something like 1.6 billion objects already operational. And then you have the certification part that allows you to issue all those identities. So the company really solves the problem, what we call the fourth industrial revolution, or Industry 4.0, which is IoT security. IoT security is becoming every day more strategic as many things are moving to the internet, and the current conflicts with cyber wars, what is going on as per the recommendations of the different governments, including the United States and Europe. Then say we are entering into an era where the internet is going to be as threatening as infrastructure, like electricity, roads, traffic lights, airport security. We need to secure the IoT, and in order to secure the IoT, you need to apply those technologies I just discussed a few minutes ago. So the vision where we are going, and this is the vision, is that things should be secure device to cloud. So you should not have any intermediary between. If you have an object and that object belongs to you, and you want to connect that object with cloud services or the metaverse, you should have the technology to do so. And in that model, WISeKey acts as a platform. I always give the example of an airport. Once you go through the security check-ins into the airport, once you clean your objects and you show your identity, once you are in the secure area, you are free to do things, to go shopping, to the duty-free, to establish relations in that area. Everybody has been certified, so there's no risk in that area. It's the trust level has increased versus the trust level outside the perimeter of the airport before you check in. The same thing happens with the internet. We need to create areas on the internet that they are secure, that everyone that has access to that area has proved their credentials, has proved that their products and objects are not dangerous. And once you are in that area, which is now combined with other technologies like Web 3.0 technologies like metaverse and NFTs and others, they can create a unique experience on a very trusted model. WISeKey, in order to reinforce the interconnectiveness of all those sensors that we have deployed, has entered into a cooperation with SpaceX through a technology integration with FOSA that allows us to send our own Pico satellites. So we have now sent with SpaceX, that was sent in January, a network of satellites. We call that a constellation, that they are going around the Earth on daily basis. Those satellites are being used to capture the signals, and they are activated by the sensors that we have been embedding into objects. So this technology allows a distribution of sensors tracking all over the world. It replaces basically 5G and other expensive technologies, allows objects to talk directly to the internet. So imagine putting the chips into agricultural products, into cattle, into shipment in the middle of the sea, container tracking. That information is collected by the satellite, and the satellite will verify that identity of the object is not being compromised, as a way to ensure that when the object reaches destination is the same object that left destination, and it is an object that is trusted during the transport. So imagine parcels, imagine FedEx using that for parcel delivery. This is the complementarity that we needed, and now we have to have our own satellite. We are going to send over 80 satellites by the end of the year. And this is a cooperation that we do also with our partners, and they can team with us and sending their own satellite and aggregate those satellites into the WISeSat constellation. So obviously the device to host authentication is part of what every consumer product requires. So today we are facing a problem of illicit trade, counterfeiting. It's a $2.2 trillion problem. WISeKey has been working with many companies in securing their object, so we reduce the counterfeiting and illicit trade possibilities. The reason why this industry is so big is because the products are very easy to copy. It's very easy to replicate the original and then sell the copy, in some cases with nearly the same quality than the original has. So reducing illicit trade is only possible if you add some track and tracing technology at the object level, then you can monitor that this object is being secure. So we have been doing that with medical products, luxury products, food products, etc. And the good news is that the new regulations are moving towards forcing every single manufacturer of a product to certify the product so the product is traceable on the internet as a way to ensure then that product is not going to be dangerous for the consumer. That shows the application threat from the protection on starting from the password level all the way to the data theft and corruption. So those are where hackers are infiltrating the infrastructure and are able to multiply weak passwords and replacing access, unauthorized logging, impersonalization, and this is very big on the metaverse, especially as we are moving now to trade with avatars and things like that. Cryptocurrency theft, something that happens every day, data theft, and compromised site security. So those are the weakness that can be solved by just providing the services I described before, and in particular, moving to digital certification. We have made strong recommendations to stop using passwords as a way to access critical services, convert that into digital certificates, and they are very difficult to hack. Use digital certification attached to your email as a way to secure your email and prove the origin of the person when you are talking to somebody else, and so on. So the secure application environment, as I mentioned before, needs to solve the problem of the attacks that we are receiving in our day. So one of the major issues here, and this is a bit of a way to enter into the blockchain community, is the possibility of compromising crypto wallets and encrypted hard drives. Crypto wallets is becoming very popular because you have to store your Bitcoin and cryptocurrency keys, and they have been compromised, especially when this is done in an unsecure way. USB tokens for security logging, like FIDO, WISeKey microchip has been added into FIDO devices. They can provide one-time password generators, 2FA, which is a replacement I mentioned before of email, and provide secure access to sensitive site or services by encrypting end-to-end from the device to the cloud or the person to the cloud. So one area that we enter in the last year, and it has become a major growth path for WISeKey, is what we call non-fungible tokens. So the problem with non-fungible token is that you have to create a digital twin between a physical asset, a painting, a car, collected car, a real estate, a IP, and its equivalent on the metaverse. So the digital asset could be multiplied in an uncontrolled fashion. Okay, that's what digital good can be multiplied very easily. You just copy and paste an image and you just put on your Instagram and you say, this is mine. And from the Instagram, now you can issue an NFT. So in order to protect that digital good or physical good, you need to go through a process of verification, of provenance, of ensuring that the object has received the right verification in order to create its digital twin on the metaverse. And once the digital twin is on the metaverse, you can go back and forward and verify that the asset represents the real asset on the physical wall. So we have done world first. WISeKey was the world first NFT on watches, luxury watches. We did that last year in February last year. From that point, many watch manufacturers are now using NFT to secure their watches. We were also one of the first to launch a NFT marketplace with the name wise.art, which is available online already with 150 artists already trading on that platform, something like $60 million on NFT being already recorded as a value on the platform. We just did a few weeks ago a world first by connecting the satellite of WISeKey as a way to issue the NFT front space. We did that with the Brooke Shields celebrity, and we announced that at the NASDAQ in a very big event, on where we demonstrated that from a space we can issue a key, which is the one is going to be used as a hash key for issuing the NFT, which is then minted in a blockchain. In that specific case, we use Casper Lab blockchain, and WISeArt now is fully operational, and that can be repeated with any other type of NFT. Obviously, the vision for us, and that's why we developed the WISeArt platform, is to show how we can help organizations that they are in the process of entering into the NFT, but they don't want to worry about securing the NFT, developing their NFT platform. This is a complex operation that requires a lot of technology and mainly knowledge on cybersecurity. Even big platforms on NFT has been hacked lately. An NFT has been stolen, and one of the main reasons is because the companies behind do not have a cybersecurity sense. So we believe having a company on cybersecurity with strong assets in cybersecurity, in crypto, in IoT, and around microchips will be a very solid base to develop platforms like the one we just demonstrated. WISeArt acts as a B2C, so it's a platform that is available for the public to use it, to buy their NFT, to list and publish their NFTs, to auction their NFT, but can also be provided as a white label. And we are teaming with organizations, and they are now taking the WISeArt NFT platform code and certification authority and microchips, and they are developing their value-added services. In the future, there are many brands that they are entering into the metaverse, but before they enter into the metaverse, they need to provide NFTs to their products. Imagine Chanel, LVMH, all of them, they want to sell objects and services on the metaverse, but before you need to create the NFTs for doing that. And many of them, they don't want to go into the complexity to develop themselves their own NFTs. It's a complex issue, requires a very strong surveillance, as those sites are highly target sites for hackers, and WISeKey provide that service as a white label, and this is something that you will see in the next months evolving very fast. The technology, as a recapping on the technology, WISeKey is sitting something like 3,000 patents in different areas, patents related to NanoSeal, which are NFC chips that embed firmware, and Volt IC, which is our main IoT cybersecurity device-to-device authentication, Micro X Safe, which is access control. Imagine accessing airports and open the door through NFC chips, and obviously securing smart cards. You know, we are securing many of the smart cards currently into the market, and those smart cards are secure with our microchips. So this technology now, as I mentioned before, is being embedded into all sorts of devices, industrial nodes, livestock nodes, wearable nodes, agricultural nodes, tracking nodes, and all that is now connected to our satellites, the WISeSats, that allows us to track real-time the device by sending signals between themselves, which are then captured by gateway concentrators and antennas, ground station antennas around the world. We are teaming with LoRa on this. LoRa is allowing us to further distribute the signal and becomes lower in terms of price than what any 5G connection. We can also obviously connect with 5G, but 5G would only make sense in big cities and in places with high concentration, and I cannot be used in remote location, in Africa, in rural areas, or in the middle of the sea. So for that, we need another level of connectivity. So a big asset of WISeKey, as I mentioned before at the beginning, is our semiconductor technology, which is very mature. It is a technology that is powering now something like 3,500 brands, 1.6 billion chips. Those chips are being expanded. WISeKey has entered into cooperation to develop post-quantum chip, which is going to be available within the next 18 months. This is a technology that allows the microchips to increase their security with the post-quantum technology, expecting soon to have quantum computers there that will be able to break existing crypto. So the crypto into the chips needs to evolve to use that computer power as a way to replace any potential quantum decryption threat. The microchips are becoming smaller and lower in pricing. We can price some of the initial microchips in few cents of dollars. So that means they can be replacing QR codes, can replace any kind of product without the need to have an unsecure way of authenticating and checking these products. The certification authority of WISeKey has a very strong footprint. It is recognized by the major international standards organization. It's being audited every year by WebTrust. So that's the certification authority stated is ISO 27001 compliant. And it's something that, as I mentioned before, it will take many years for any company to replicate, because once you create your own root key and you have that root key deployed, it will take years before all the browsers of the world and operating system of the world will be trusting that root key. So this is a major part. And just to finalize the HIRO, so this is an acquisition we made with Arago. Arago is a company in Germany that received 55 million investment from KKR. WISeKey acquired a majority ownership of Arago last year. And since then, we have been investing important resources as a way to integrate the natural language processor capability and machine reasoning into our hardware. So the end game here is to have an artificial intelligent microchip, AI chip, that will be post-quantum secure and will allow machines to take decisions themselves and will also be used to reprogram themselves in case of attacks. So very high-end vision. I mean, I think the capabilities of HIRO as well to provide process automation is very important. Automation reduces over 70 to 80% of the need to have people running repetitive tasks. And HIRO, although Arago is still on infancy in terms of revenue, it's about $5 million revenue per year, but it gets exponential very fast as soon as you increase the number of devices and start to use it. So this was a very big bet for WISeKey for acquiring this company. And now what we are doing is extracting the component that will be integrated into our IoT platform and then fully deploy that potentiality first while we maintain the automation services. So I would like to thank you for your attention. And if you need more information, you just need to go to wisekey.com and you will have more information. We have an analyst section, investor section, where you can see the company is providing its financial report 2021 by the end of this month. So we will be announcing the year. We already pre-announced the financial results of WISeKey last year, where we show a growth of nearly 50% on revenue growth. We had years related to COVID. Then obviously the semiconductor business was reduced in terms of revenue side due to the logistic issues related to semiconductor. This has been solved now. And now we are expecting a major growth in the next years. So again, thank Maxine for the support and also for covering WISeKey. WISeKey has been covered. Maxine analyst is covering the company, and the opportunity given today to make a presentation. Thank you very much. All the best.